What's up everybody? If you don't know who I am, my name is Darren DeLellis. I am a content creator, a PGA certified instructor, and I also play golf professionally. And in this video, I want to tie all of that together to bring you along on what it's like to be a scratch golfer. I got tips and little tidbits on what I do to keep my game in check and strategies I use on the golf course to make sure I can score well and perform while I'm out there. So let's get started. I'm going to play the back nine of the long mean, so let's head on out there. Before I get up to hit this first tee shot, I want to talk about the things I do in practice to keep my game in check. And the first thing is on the putting green. I like to use a putting mirror and this gate to work on a couple things. One, I use a putting mirror to work on my setup. Make sure my head's in the same spot, make sure my setup is the same. Because if I want to make a consistent putting stroke, the setup needs to be consistent. So this ensures that I do that. And the gate is a reminder that I'm starting the ball on line. It's a very small margin of error. So if I can get it through the gate, I can start the ball on line and I confidently know that I'm doing that. And I think that's one of the most important things. If I can start the ball on line consistently, then matching the speed in line is much easier. The second thing I do to keep my game in check is on the range. I like to make sure every time I go out there, I have something I'm focusing on. And right now I'm focused on getting a little deeper at the top, which means my hands are a little bit farther back, a little more over my trail shoulder. So that's why I had this alignment stick that was a lot longer, kind of challenging myself and reminding myself if I hit that stick, I went a little bit too high. But I like to make sure I'm always working on something, not just going out there and aimlessly beating balls. So every time I go out there, I'll start doing that with a wedge, something I'm really comfortable with, and then try and transfer that feel all the way up as I'm warming up to go out to play. So I always want to make sure when I'm out there on the range, I'm not just aimlessly hitting balls. I'm always working on something, whether it's a spot in my swing or some different shot shapes. But there's always a plan, there's always a goal. So with all that said, let's get out to the golf course. Even through one, can't hit on a par. Just getting up to hole 11, I want to talk about the strategy I have off this tee shot because I play with a lot of people that just get a little too aggressive off the tee and it takes them out of the hole completely right away. So this hole's a par 5, the dogleg's to the right, the green's probably about through this house. So you have a couple options. You can go left of the bunkers, you can go over them. The farthest bunker is about 280 over it, or you can go right of it, where you got to hit like 295 to get past these trees on the right. So what I see a lot of people do on this tee shot is that they don't understand that you can't make birdie from the tee shot, but you certainly can make bogey. And obviously, yes, you can put yourself in a position where you have a better chance to make birdie, but it's not going to guarantee you a birdie. But if you hit a poor tee shot, you get a little too aggressive, you hit in the water, you can about guarantee yourself a bogey. So on a tee shot like this, where there's that risk reward, you want to aim in a spot that if you hit it straight, it's fine. But you want to understand your miss, where if you do hit a little bit of a miss, you still have a chance for birdie. You never want to aim in a position like for myself, I hit a fade. If I aimed right of those bunkers to start and my only option was at a perfect drive that barely faded, that's going to make it very tough. Yes, I could hit a great drive and have a really good birdie look, but a lot of the times I'm going to be staring bogey in the face because I might be re-teeing. So when you get on holes like this, where's that risk reward, play a little more conservative off the tee because there is that variance of your misses. Maybe you feel like a wimp aiming a little bit farther away from the water, but in reality, you're trying to play boring golf. Good golf is boring golf, so we're just trying to hit fairways. Play a little more conservative, make aggressive swings to conservative targets. You'll become a lot better golfer just because you'll keep the ball in play more often. So just like I said, the perfect line for me on this hole is to end it right edge of this tree on the edge of the water. So my goal is going to be to try to land it left edge to give myself that little bit of variance that if I miss a little right. So I'm going to start this ball. There's a V in the trees right over the bunkers. I'm going to aim there It's a conservative line and make an aggressive swing. We're gonna make sure we keep it in play, give myself a birdie look. Because where that variance comes in, I pushed a little bit, but now it's perfect. That was the right side of my variance. I gave myself that room to miss. Now I still got a good look at making a 4. That would be so good. Easy little birdie. I hit the middle of the fairway. Now let's talk about the second shot. I got 127 yards, front pin with a wood panel bunker in the way. Now the worst thing I can do here is come up a little bit short and hit that wood where it's gonna shoot me back to a very difficult spot. I see a lot of people get too aggressive on shots like this. 127 yards out, a good shot is 10, 15 feet. Honestly, I think tour average is probably closer to 20. So you should play to be a touch long in this pin. Because again, there's that dispersion. You might not hit it perfect. You want to give yourself some room to error, to make sure we can cover that wood panel. You can probably guess now, being 25 feet past the hole is going to be way better than coming up 25 feet short, hitting that wood, and having a really difficult chip. So like I said, 127, a little into the wind. I'm actually gonna hit pitching wedge, which is 1 club up, because I want to make sure I'm for sure getting over this wood wall. I'm gonna try to land it 133. I think that should be like 20 feet, 15 feet. Pretty good. Wanted the birdie, but I'll take the par. 13th hole, I got 198. I got 6 iron because it'll guarantee me getting past that front bunker. I can test that now. Poor shot, up and down. Thought I made that all day. Back to even par. Poor tee shot. Got 157 to a back pin. I feel comfortable attacking this pin because there is a backstop behind the green. So firm. Oh, I mentally missed that one before I even hit it. Poor bogeys. Whatever, on to the next. Remember a few holes ago when I said you gotta make aggressive swings at conservative targets? This is one of those holes. I hit that terrible. Got 161, another back pin. I got 9 iron. Similar shot as the last one. I just gotta get the hands in front of the body a little better. Much better swing. Short. Okay. Could be worse. It's par. Wanted better. Could have been worse. I got 174, touch of help, so I got 8 iron. It's an accessible pin, so we're just looking to attack it. Now that we're on the 16th green, let's talk about green reading. There's a couple things you gotta look for. The slope, whether it goes left, right, or straight. The speed, whether it's uphill, downhill, or flat. And then the grain if you're on Bermuda grass. And there's a couple things I look for while I do that. First thing, looking at left to right slope, I try to go behind the ball and behind the hole. And if I'm confused, I will also stand in the middle of the putt and try to fill it out with my feet. This is a good way to figure out kind of left, right, and how much it's breaking. Next, I make sure to go to the side of the putt. This one is something I don't see a lot of amateurs do. It gives me a really good idea on if it's uphill or downhill, and that really determines, or that really changes the speed and how much the putt's gonna break. Because if it's faster, if it's downhill, it's gonna break more, and if it's slower, you gotta hit it harder, it's gonna break less. And then third, you gotta look at the cup if you're looking for grain. This is just the easiest way to figure out what it's doing. There's always a dead side of the cup and always a crisp side. And the dead side is the direction the grain is growing. So it's always growing towards that dead side. Another way to do it is if you're looking at the green, the really shiny green grass is down grain and the dark green grass is back into you. So I misread it just a little bit, but from 30 feet, that's a pretty good putt, pretty good read. So remember, when you're trying to read a putt, remember those 3 things. Look for the left or right, the up and down, and the grain of the putt. Now let's see if we can get back to even or under par in these last 2 holes. I got 181 to a front pin, gotta make sure it gets to it, if not past it, so I got 7. One shot I couldn't hit, and that was the one. Well, I've got 230 yards over water to an island green. It's 201 over the bunker, so I'm gonna hit 4 iron. This is kind of one of those make or break shots. It's doable, but it's hard. Get on the green. Wasn't hit amazing, but it's safe. I think it's just left side of the green. Well, I'm 0 for 2 on up and downs right now. We're gonna change that right now. Damn, that landed so firm. There we go. We made a putt. How about that? So that's all I got for you on POV as a scratch golfer. I wish I could have made more birdies for you, but I just kind of struggled today. But as you can see, scratch golfers, they don't always flush it every time. You don't always hit great shots. You don't always hit great chips or even good putts. But you just manage fairly well. You can get around making a lot of pars. So I hope you can use some of the tips and tricks that I talked about in this video in your next round to help you lower your scores. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.